What's up, everybody? It's Roger. I wanted to go over a topic that I've briefly mentioned before in the past. This is the topic related to cigar smoking, which I think is very important. It's something that I know gets brought up, and people that have been smoking for a while know this, but to new smokers, this is maybe a concept that you're not aware of, or I've used to hear people bring this up before, but it never clicked until I kind of put everything together, and I mentally just ended up understanding what they mean by this, right? I'm not sure what the title for this video is going to be, but it was probably kind of clickbaity, so I'm going to let you guys know what the topic is of the video, because this one's not going to be short. There is no, let me try to shorten it up and put some, it's going to be long. I'm probably going to rant on this one. So pretty much what I was going to say about how you can ruin a good cigar and how you can make a bad cigar good or great is all based off situation, your surroundings, and how comfortable you are. Pretty much that's it. You make that cigar good or bad, right? You can do it on your own. It all comes from your environment, being comfortable. And that's gonna sound stupid, because if it was up to us, and we would always make every cigar a killer cigar, but it doesn't always work like that, right? There's cigars that sometimes I smoke and the cigar is just an accessory to what I'm doing, right? When I smoke during work, I usually, if I'm clear, because I have no job to go to, I'll pull over, wait for a job, and I always have something to do, always have some type of work to do on my tablet. So I'll sit down on a bucket, put down my truck bed, the gate on my truck bed, and I'll type on there while I'm smoking a cigar. Right there, if I got a call or if something's going on, I have to chuck my cigar, no problem. It is what it is. So I'm not gonna be smoking a freaking Opus or an Andalusian Bull when I'm gonna be doing that. So it's always just, the cigars that you don't mind too much, don't mind losing too much. That is when the cigar is an accessory. Then there is the times when the cigar is the focus. The cigar is the focus, and everything surrounding it is there to kind of help your cigar smoke session, right? Smoke session. I don't know, it sounds stupid, huh? That sounds like what people do if they're gonna get high, let's go to smoke session. Well, I don't know if people say that. Maybe they don't, I don't smoke weed. But so there is times where you can make the cigar is the focus, and you can ruin that by being way too OCD about it. And that's kind of where I'm at. That's what happens to me. Let's say I'm gonna smoke an Opus Forbidden X, and I've been wanting to smoke that cigar. I've been waiting for the perfect day, and it's tomorrow's the day I'm gonna smoke it, because tomorrow I'm gonna be home, tomorrow I'm gonna do it. And you're so focused on it that you're moving everything around. I wanna make sure I have this to drink. I wanna make sure I have that. I wanna make sure it's the day that my kids are gonna be, not here, or the day my kids are gonna be here so I can have them around, whatever, right? You're trying to move everything around the focus, which is the cigar. And if things don't go right, you will ruin that cigar. That cigar will not be worth it, and you will be pissed. And that's because of the focus, right? Everything that happened. There's also, I'm sure this has happened to all of you, when you have smoked a cigar and you either loved it, you loved that cigar, and then you smoked it another time and it wasn't good, or it wasn't as good. And the opposite has happened, right? And that is because of the situation. The situation made that cigar either special or shitty. And you have to figure out what those things are for you. I'll give you an example, right? The way that I got into cigars, how much time am I in? Okay, not too bad. Okay, so when I got into cigars, I've always been into smoking. I've always liked, I was born in the 80s, so it's a different era, different time. I grew up with my dad smoking, I grew up with my uncle smoking cigarettes, not cigars, smoking cigarettes, doing stuff like that, and I've always thought it looked cool. I've always thought smoking cigarettes was cool. Right now, all the young kids are if they see somebody smoking cigarettes, they're ew, ugh, they smoke cigarettes? Ew, you stink. I don't know how they feel that. I know that they've been trying to make people look at cigarettes a certain way, and I respect that. It's cool. Cigarettes are bad for you. There is no arguing that, right? Cigarettes are bad for your health. They're very unhealthy, and they're dangerous. So cool. They had changed a lot of people's minds to look at cigarettes a certain way, at tobacco a certain way, and I appreciate it. Cool. It's better for everybody. less people are dying and stuff from that lung cancer or whatever. So I'm all for it. But I didn't get that same exact type of treatment growing up, so I never thought cigarettes were that. I knew they were bad, but I didn't think they were disgusting. I didn't think you were lame if you smoked cigarettes. It wasn't like that, right? My generation just didn't smoke. Either you did smoke or you didn't because you knew that it was bad for you, and that's it. With that, cigars has always been something that I was like kind of interested in. I always thought it was cool. I used to smoke Black and Milds, and that was like the first thing I ever smoked was a Black and Mild when I was in 4th grade, walking home with my friend. And his dad used to have his Black and Milds in the fridge, and he would take one out every now and then. And when we were walking home from school, we would be smoking one, and I used to think it was so cool. So lame now when you think about it, because well, anyways, it's just stupid, right? Stupid kids. You do stupid shit when you're young. But that was like kind of how I got into cigars, right? And then when I was young, I used to do a lot of stupid things. I've done a lot of dumb things, like, and it was never an issue. Like you either were young at some point, or you know some young people, or you are young now and you think you're unstoppable, and you think, but if you were young before, you remember how you used to think. And when we were young, we did stupid things, thought a stupid way. Most of us, not everybody. Only us, the dumb ones. But like, I have so many things that I did wrong. Like I have plates in my shoulder, collarbone, plates in my hand. I have steel rods in my wrist. They've put fingers back on my freaking hand. I'm sure you guys have seen when I'm holding a cigar, like my fingers ain't all there. Like this just, I've been into so many stupid things and done so many stupid things. And all that changed when I had my first son. I had my kid, and that completely changed my life. Not on purpose. I didn't mentally say, okay, now I'm older, now I have a son, no, it just happened. And the way that it happened was my brain started giving me anxiety and panic attacks for no reason. Like I'd never experienced stuff like that until like after my son was born, and I was always on edge, really. And I'm not proud of it, but I am a helicopter parent. Luckily I've let loose now that I have 2 kids, but for a long time I was very zoned into my kids, very attentive to like if they were sick, if they needed something, I was there obsessing about it. Like, you know, even though you're supposed to let your kids go through these trials and tribulations and scuff up their knee and let them stand up and dust themselves off, even though I was raised that way, and I think that's what makes you strong, it's so hard to be that type of parent. For me anyways, right? So trust me, this all has to do with my story. So we went on vacation, right? I've always been a casual cigar smoker, but it was never a thing. Like it was never constant. It was never even a weekly thing. And we went on vacation, and this is when I had my youngest. My youngest right now is 3 or about to be 4, and this is when he was barely 2. He was a baby. And we've always been struggling with things with him because they thought he had asthma, they thought he didn't. He was hospitalized for days running tests because they couldn't figure out if it was asthma or if it was RSV or if it was whatever. So we went on vacation, and this little guy, he always gets sick. So here we are in Mexico, which I don't like. I'm a nervous parent. When I was young, I did a lot of stupid shit. As a parent, I don't like going anywhere. I've been to Dominican Republic. I've been to so many places, but with my kids, I don't feel safe going anywhere that I can't like instantly take off, be home soon, go to a hospital. Like, even though I speak Spanish, even though that's my parents' country, I don't like being somewhere where I don't feel comfortable. So of course my kid gets asthma attack, like when we're on vacation. So we're freaking out, whatever. My sister, my niece, my goddaughter used to have asthma, and my sister still has like her old inhaler. Gave it to my kid, he started feeling better, and it was like, okay, cool. But it doesn't, even though he was fine, he fell asleep, he was breathing well, you know. It's not like everybody was like, sigh of relief. I did not have, how much time? I did not have that sigh of relief. I was just like, okay, what do we do? Okay, like what happens if he wakes up and he's still sick? Okay, what happens? Okay, check flights. What time will I get home? Okay, if we leave now, if we do this, if I take a car and we drive home, like my wife's like, calm down, we're fine. We're like, no, we're gonna be fine because I'm gonna make sure we're fine, right? Like, and that's another reason I think that I got so that I started getting anxiety is because as a father, you have these duties and roles that you're supposed to do. So I remember thinking, I know we're gonna be fine because I'm gonna make sure we're fine. I don't care what I have to do. So that same way of thinking does not let me let go of that pressure. And I remember, because I've had anxiety, I'm like, do not get anxiety. Do not get a panic attack, bro. Like, come on. And it's like, everything's fine. What do you have? And I'm over here listing off the bad things, the good things, how I'm being illogical and I can't shake it. I got, like, my fingers are tingling, my hands are moving, and I'm like, damn. So, you know, I'm with everybody in the kitchen, like, hey, and then I gotta go to the bathroom, and I'm like, fuck, man. Damn, what are we gonna do? Like, damn, I'm so stressed out. I'm thinking, oh, okay, my kid's good, he's fine. But, you know, that's just how my head works. Like, I was so nervous. And my brother-in-law was like, my brother-in-law was so laid back. They were drinking. I don't drink, right? Not that I rarely drink. So he's like drinking. He's in the hot tub and he's like, bring the cigars, bro. And I'm like, okay, like, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm just gonna, you know, I'm playing it up like everything's fine. So I'm gonna smoke a cigar. And it was a Romeo and Julieta, and they were Cubans, right? And here's the thing, I'm positive they were Cubans because we bought them at a grocery store where, like, they had this walk-in humidor and they didn't have any Cohibas, nothing like that. All they had was like straight, they didn't have anything. I took a picture of it. Maybe I'll put a picture if I can find it. Like, they didn't have any type of like exotic cigars. They had a few New World cigars, and they had a lot of Romeo and Julietas and something else, right? So I sit down, smoke the cigar. I had never put a cigar on my mouth, and when you let it go, you get a sweet taste on your lips. It wasn't like a sweetened tip. It wasn't like a sweetened cap. It's not like the Dunbar and Brulee. It wasn't like that. Because that to me is even like, oh, this is sweet, and like this is beyond sweet, right? This is beyond natural. This was a very light sweetness. And I remember thinking, I've never smoked a cigar like this. And I was like, this is really nice. Like, holy shit, like this is great. Smoked that cigar, and it was cool. Like, I was like, okay, cool. Then I instantly remember just sitting there. I was in a beautiful place. I'll probably put up a video of where we were. We were in like this huge mansion on a cliffside, looking over the ocean. Like we had a walkway to go to the ocean. Everything was great. The place was beautiful. There was like a full moon. So I was just looking at everything and thinking, why? Like, my son is fine. He's safe. We are in a nice touristy area. He has, what's the worst that can happen? Asthma? We have an inhaler. We just used it. It works. He's good. So then I just remember thinking like, yeah. And I instantly like felt euphoria, like a sense of, and for anybody thinking, dude, there was fucking something else in that cigar. No, it wasn't like, I've done a lot of heavy drugs. It wasn't like that. It was just calming and relaxing. And the waves were in the beach, and something just clicked for me where I was like, this is nice. I am an overreactor and I'm overreacting. I'm making myself nervous. Everything is fine, right? Cool. Smoked that cigar. It left, I had only smoked like cheaper cigars before, $8 cigars and $9 cigars, which in California, that's cheap. Like JM cigars, like stuff like that. And I remember I was talking to my wife, and I remember kissing my wife, and she's like, oh, it doesn't. Whenever I smoke cigarettes or something like that, my wife was like, oh, you've been smoking. She didn't say that. She said, my wife even likes to take a few draws off of a cigar every now and then because she likes the taste of a nice, smooth cigar, not a harsh one. So that was like, after that, I fell in love with cigars. I instantly correlated relaxation, calming, letting go of stress. I related that to cigars. So for me, I started relating, just that was it, right? Like if I wanted to relax, I could smoke a cigar. Then I started getting into the hobby, and I'm a pretty obsessive person, like I said. So the whole collecting thing and like the rarity thing and running into cool cigars at different B&Ms, and I that whole thing, I love that. Like I love that aspect of the hobby. And that's how it started. And I had gotten I had another one of those cigars, brought it home. I brought one for my brother-in-law. I had another one, and I waited months to smoke it because I remember I was like, I'm gonna save it. And I smoked it on a whim one day, and it wasn't that good. And I don't know if it's because I didn't keep it right, or instantly when I came back, I started looking up like how to keep cigars properly. And I had it in a Ziploc bag for a long time, and then I put it into a jar with Boveda pack because I had like 2 other cigars. I was buying 2-3 cigars at a time, and I was putting them in there. And yeah, so I don't know if it was that the cigar was not kept well, or it was just the circumstance. I still got that Swedish type of taste on the lips, but the cigar was a little bit more dry, and I remember it was weird. Like, that was the only Cuban cigar, the only 2 Cuban cigars I have ever smoked. And it was so good. My brother-in-law always brings it up too. Anytime, even when I give him a good cigar, I gave him the Intemperance, and he was like, oh, it's kind of strong, it's kind of harsh. He always talks about that Cuban cigar, like, oh yeah, remember that cigar? So I wasn't alone. And all my favorite cigars were always smoked during this time when I really needed it, or it really helped me calm down or whatever. So then I can have like a really rare cigar, a great cigar, and I'm like, I can't wait to smoke this. And then the situation stresses me out. Like I'm trying to force it, right? I've talked about this in my last videos. I set dates for when I can smoke certain cigars when I'm letting them sit for a while. And when that day's coming up, and like if it's today, I'm gonna smoke that cigar today. Even though the calendar said like I can smoke it after this date, it might as well say smoke it today. You have to smoke it today or it's gonna blow up, because that's what my head does. So I will force a cigar. It's windy outside and I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't smoke, it's so windy, but I think it'll be okay. And always it's like, and the wind's blowing everything away, and I set the cigar down and it rolls off, and it's like, why did I do this, right? This is a horrible cigar. Is it the cigar, or is it that I screwed it up and did not smoke it at the right time and I forced the issue? That a lot of times that's what it is. That's what it's gonna be. You force the issue and you end up ruining a good cigar. And you can also enjoy a great cigar that's a cheap cigar, or like, nah, I shouldn't say cheap, right? Like I always do that, and I don't mean to. Any cigar, even a cigar that's like a mediocre cigar, a cigar that's not that great, you smoke it in the right situation, the right time, the right place, and you're gonna love that cigar because it was perfect at that time. Some people love their yard cigars. I know some people who like, oh, I smoke my favorite cigar when I'm like zoned out doing the yard or doing this task or doing that. And it's like, well, you don't really get to enjoy it, or you don't really get to like taste the tasty notes. You don't really get to. It's like some people love when you get older. I used to see clips of when you get older, guys want to cut the lawn and they want to like do all this dad shit. And I used to think that's so dumb. Like none of that seems exciting. But when you get older, I don't know why, you like doing that stuff, right? I love working on wood, zoning out, doing stuff, doing projects. And like, if you enjoy your hobby as like the projects you do on it, cleaning your yard, washing your car and detailing cars, because I have some friends who love to detail their cars. And if you have a cigar you always smoke when you do that, and you correlate that with like a good time, because that's when you're doing your hobby, your thing, you correlate that with when you're doing your thing that you enjoy, then you're gonna enjoy that cigar. I could tell guys, you're not gonna taste the tasty notes, you're not gonna enjoy that cigar. It's like, that cigar is the best cigar. I love that cigar. That's why I do it when I'm doing my favorite thing. And it's like, okay, like that's how they enjoy their cigar. And to them, it clicked in their mind that this is a great cigar because they always smoke it when they're doing something that they're enjoying. So yeah, it's pretty much it. You can, some of this stuff is out of your control, right? Like on Father's Day, I had previously mentioned in a video, I tried to smoke a Opus X Angel Share that I was saving, and it went to shit because the jaw was messed up. And it was even more stressful because, for one, it was an Opus that I was saving, and two, it was my Father's Day cigar. And I was pissed that that was my Father's Day cigar because I didn't, oh wait, I did. I had an Industry Killer. So then it was fine. I smoked an Industry Killer and it was perfect. So yeah, it's just, sometimes this stuff is out of your control. But if you can control it, if you can just enjoy your cigar, or if things are stressed out and you're gonna sit down with the cigar that you've been wanting to smoke and your kids are asking for help and you're like, okay, I still have time. And then your wife says something and you're like, okay, cool, I still have time. You get a phone call and you're like, okay, I can still smoke while I'm on this phone call. You're probably better off holding off on that cigar. If it's a really special cigar you're saving, hold off on smoking it when the time is right, when you have the time, when you know you should, and not when you're trying to force to do it. I'm speaking as if everybody has these issues, but these may just be my problems, because these may just be the stuff that I do. But hey. Alrighty guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know your comments. I'm interested to see. I know that everybody has gone through this, has felt this, let me know, you know, if you guys have had this type of experience, or if you guys have a certain cigar that you love that cigar because of a certain situation. I hope that, I was debating doing this video because I knew the way that I speak, the way that I rant, I knew I was gonna go into like my personal life and a lot of things, and I'm not trying to get too personal, but I also do want to start incorporating like a lot of my work. The Working Man Cigars is supposed to be like the cigar thing, but then I also work really hard. I also, you know, I have people that work with me that work really hard, and I want to be able to express that and show that. So I still have to start posting some of that stuff. So it's gonna get more personal. And I've always been conflicted whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we'll see. You guys let me know what you think. All right. So thanks again for watching, and then next topic, we'll see what it comes up. All right. Thanks, guys.